I just can't believe what we saw today. It's just, this is just the very beginning of it. I think that the worst is yet to come. It hasn't even scratched the surface as far as the damage that's fixing to happen.
Every security guard here has given the instructions to every single news crew. You can be with outside of 100 yards of the workers along the boom.
And who's saying that? Because nobody can tell me, unless you're the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, you're the Coast Guard, or you're the military, can you tell me where to go on this public beach?
I can tell you where to go because I'm employed to keep this beach safe. And right now, those are my instructions. I have to keep the workers safe as well.
I'm going to go and try and talk to a worker under the tent. Can I do that?
No.
He's on a break.
You are not allowed to interview any workers.
The workers can talk to the media, according to the BP CEO 2 days ago.
That
word still hasn't trickled down to you all?
We've already heard that one too.
Yeah.
What do you mean you've heard that one? It's true.
The email does not explicitly give you permission to do that.
There are quotes from Doug Suttles that say no one has been barred access to talk to the media, and that it's a misunderstanding, and the word hasn't trickled down to all the appropriate channels yet. That's what he said 2 days ago. So 2 days later, that word still hasn't trickled down.
The word it's been briefed to us.
By whom? Who's briefing you all?
That's not important right now.
Well, if you're telling me that I can't do it, it's important that I know who's briefing you.
What's important right now is you cannot talk to the workers. You're interfering with their jobs right now.
If there's somebody on break, I'm interfering with his job?
Yes, you're interfering with his rest. Sir, you cannot talk to anybody there.
Can I yell from a distance?
No. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Sir, you cannot interview the workers.
So there are certain flight zones that you couldn't go over at all. And then there are other zones where you had to maintain a 3,000-foot elevation. So primarily for the flight today, I believe we were around 2,500 to 3,000 feet. But there are certain areas that we couldn't fly over at all. And he kind of shows that on a map. So yeah, there are flight restrictions, but there's a lot of activity going on down there too. I mean, I saw countless helicopters down below us.
And I guess I got 11 miles south of here, and it was really close because we landed. I got a phone call saying, "How close did you get?" So I went to the fix and made a right-hand turn, and it was the Department of Homeland Security, Air and Marine Division, they called.
You're kidding me. They called you as soon as you landed.
Yeah. And I was 11 miles, and she's, well, we're looking for another aircraft that was 40 miles south. And I think they were looking to violate them.
You're
Federal
kidding.
charges, yeah. Army was here. I mean, this is big time. Army, there was a couple Army airplanes, a couple Blackhawks. Who else was Department of Homeland Security? Yeah, when they close down airspace like that, you don't want to mess with it. A buddy of mine.
Why are they closing down the airspace? Do you know?
I have no idea why they do it.
My travel partner, Jet, actually did some research with West Jefferson Medical Center in Marrero, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and basically what they told us, that was between May 26th and May 30th, there have been 2 emergency admits, 6 ambulance, 3 helicopter, and 2 walk-ins. I'm so sorry, 11 emergency admits, 6 ambulance, 3 helicopter, 2 walk-ins. The symptoms were nausea, dizziness, severe headaches, respiratory distress. They were caused by chemical exposure to fumes from oil and dispersants. After that, after May 31st, they opened a first aid tent on Grand Isle and also one at Lafitte. And over 70 people have been treated there in those 2 places. And they have begun pre-screening cleanup workers.
There are now reports of crews cleaning the oil spill in the Gulf actually falling ill. Some of them have even been hospitalized with flu-like symptoms, and they're calling it now Gulf oil syndromes. A lot of questions about how serious this is and what exactly we're looking at here. Jamie Colby's here. She's been looking at it as well. Jamie, what have you learned?
Yeah, Jane, we took a good look at this, and there are nearly 80 cases reported so far, mostly the workers, some residents, and a handful of hospitalizations. Mostly body aches, skin irritation, headaches, dizziness, nausea, and respiratory ailments. But now Dr. Manny Alvarez of Fox's medical aid team says America is facing a crisis. He calls it Gulf oil syndrome, and he says we need to watch out for serious health issues, even the potential damage to the brain.
You would have some cognitive deficiencies, memory loss, confusion, haze, That's usually in an adult brain. Problem is in a young brain. We got to monitor the rates of autism and learning disability.
So Dr. Manny says right now those at greatest risk are the workers on the front lines cleaning up the spill and those in the neighboring communities, followed by folks with chronic diseases, pregnant women, and children. Right now the CDC, the Department of Health and Human Services, OSHA, and the EPA, they're all with teams there monitoring the impact, and doctors say this is an unprecedented disaster.
Clearly they're toxins. They're chemicals that are not supposed to be in the human body, so they are toxic to many organ systems, especially the nervous system.
If they don't contain this thing, and this is a big if they don't, with the toxic gases that are coming out of this well with the oil, hydrogen sulfide, benzene, methylene chloride, and our stupid congressmen up there, they haven't got the backbone of a jellyfish. They don't have an ounce of care for human beings, or they'd be telling them what the Environmental Protection Agency has found that is blowing over the land. Now, I was a pilot for 30 years. I know that prevailing winds are from the northwest to the southeast, and these gases are blowing over the Delta, over Florida, and if they do not cap this well, you are going to see people sick. You might even see an evacuation of certain parts of the Gulf and Florida. It is going to affect the finances, economy of this country in a way that you can't even imagine.
Warns that the Gulf of Mexico's seafloor has been fractured beyond all repair, and our world should begin preparing for an ecological disaster beyond comprehension unless extraordinary measures are undertaken to stop the massive flow of oil into our planet's 11th largest body of water.
The point that I'm trying to get across tonight is this, is that we are now in a chemical soup, worst case nightmare. The pressure that is building, as Pastor Lindsey Williams was talking about, at 25,000 feet. See, everybody's dealing, and God bless Lindsey for bringing this out. The pressure at 25,000 feet and the depth of the well, and if a magma chamber ruptures, then what happens with all the oil that is volatile? What happens with all the chemicals that are off-gassing? And what happens when you get, I love the word, magma, molten magma mixing with the chemical soup? Well, I think you can probably figure it out. Not to mention the methane hydrate that will turn obviously to methane gas, and then we got a problem, ladies and gentlemen, and Houston won't be able to solve it. As a fact, Houston's in big trouble. The point that I'm trying to get across to you tonight, those of you who can move out of the Gulf Coast, who have the capability, I would suggest that you should move now. If you've listened to anybody who has ever been a refugee, you do not want to be it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the famine that is associated with this incident in the Gulf is so staggering in the ramifications. I think even mainstream media is carrying that 40 to 50% of the United States citizens on the Gulf Coast live by the protein of the sea.
This is the first time you've seen it. What was your initial response?
I'm just, I'm totally shocked. I didn't think that it was that heavy. It's spreading fast. It's spreading very, very
like
fast.
A lacquer over the water to
yes,
me.
And it's it's very thick. That's what we didn't realize. It's very thick. It's not just a film. It's a couple of coats. It's gonna be. I tell you what, I didn't think it was that bad. It's heading into the marshlands, yes, sir.
And there was no one there doing anything.
We've been at it all our lives, and I'm 63. I don't know of anything else to do.
Sam filed his claim with BP on Tuesday, but he said he doesn't want to deal with lawyers and phone calls and backlog. He just wants to work.
How much do you love this business? 30 years.
You love it.
And you're scared.
Yeah.
Can I yell from a distance?
No. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Sir, you cannot interview the workers.